I'm Glenn Colley, and I want to tell you about an exciting new project that the Gospel Broadcasting Network has launched. GBN is coming to FM radio in 16 different markets across the country. 7 of these locations have already begun their broadcasting, with more to soon follow. And while we love this great new outlet for GBN's content, we recognize the physical distance limitation of broadcasting radio. That's why I'm also happy to make another great announcement. GBN, in cooperation with a new work named TruthFM and local congregations, will begin launching internet radio stations. Losing the distance constraints of typical broadcast mediums, the internet will allow many congregations to take part in this new method of evangelism and edification 24 hours a day. Truth.fm is a complete turnkey internet-based radio station broadcasting content from GBN at a very reasonable cost, far less than the cost of setting up an FM radio station, but with many of the same benefits, such as local station IDs to direct listeners to your local congregation. Talk to your church leadership. Perhaps an internet radio station would be perfect for your congregation. Find out more at www.truth.fm or by emailing info@truth.fm today.
Hello, I'm Mike Hickson, and I host GBN Live, which appears on Gospel Broadcasting Network. Also co-host Counterpoint with BJ Clark. I'm here today with Aaron Cozart, who is one of the co-founders of a relatively new organization called TruthFM. Good to be with you.
Good to be with you. I appreciate your time and appreciate this opportunity to tell people a little bit more about TruthFM.
So what is TruthFM?
TruthFM is internet radio for the churches of Christ. So one of the things that GBN has been doing, the Gospel Broadcasting Network has been doing, is they've been launching FM radio stations. These are low-power FM radio stations, have a broadcast range of about 7 to 12 miles. They're a great opportunity for the church to be able to get out through the power of radio. But they're very limited. They're only able to reach, like I said, a small distance. And what TruthFM is doing is we're a partner organization with the Gospel Broadcasting Network, and we are building internet radio stations for churches, for congregations, to get their name out, to use the gospel and the Gospel Broadcasting Network's library to teach the gospel to the lost throughout the world.
What exactly is internet radio?
Let me actually allow one of my other co-founders to explain that in a quick video.
Okay.
Internet radio mirrors the concept of traditional FM radio, but the broadcast is done through the internet. The technology for internet radio has existed since the 1990s and is still used by millions of people today.
We realize that a lot of congregations have maybe 1 or 2 technical guys. They've got so much on their plate. We built this so that it doesn't add additional burden to those people or the congregation. We built this so that it is handled 100% by us, by TruthFM, so that the congregation can focus on what they need to be focused on, reaching souls in their local community. So TruthFM is a tool, but it's a tool that is no burden guaranteed.
Understand. Great concept. Aaron, what kind of content or shows would ultimately air on my internet radio broadcast?
Any congregation that has a TruthFM internet radio station would be able to utilize the fact that we are an authorized partner with the Gospel Broadcasting Network, which means we have thousands of hours of television and radio content from GBN, like some of the things you see behind me here. You know, thousands of hours, and they are the best of the best. Some of them even have you in them. Counterpoint with you and BJ Clark, GBN Live. As a matter of fact, one of the great things that we have going on is we're actually able to rebroadcast GBN Live as it's happening. So if a congregation has a TruthFM station, GBN Live every Thursday night is live on their air. Awesome. We've got Preaching the Gospel with Cliff Goodwin and James Watkins. We've got Jim Dearman and Good News Today. We've got them all. And they allow your station, your congregation's internet radio station, to come alive with some of the best sound doctrine, that's around, and be able to grab your listeners and influence them, teach them, instruct them, allow your members to be edified, while at the same time, and this is the key, being able to promote your own congregation, your local congregation, being able to promote your local events at the top and the bottom of the hour. It's a wonderful opportunity to mix GBN's content and your congregation.
Sounds like a great tool. Aaron, if a congregation has their own local radio program, could they use that program on this particular site? And then in addition to that, what about the preacher's local sermons that he presents every week?
Absolutely. That's one of the things we've designed with TruthFM is we've designed it to be able to renew the investment that has been made already by a local congregation. When that congregation has spent hours and hours and hours building a library of sermons that are recorded. If they've been doing radio programs on their local FM stations, we want them to be able to bring all of that over to TruthFM and be able to renew their investment in that content so that it again provides them benefit. The second and third tiers that we have in our structure allow for up to 25% of your broadcast time, which is 25% of a whole week.
That's a lot.
To be your local content, your local sermons, your local radio programs, which again allows for you to not have a burden. But at the same time, because we schedule everything, we maintain everything, we're able to get that local content and that local preacher in people's ears and in front of people to reach out, again, always focusing on the local congregation and how they can reach out to that listener.
So great benefit.
Absolutely.
Aaron, a couple of thoughts. I know, number one, people are going to be asking, what kind of track record does TruthFM have? And then a second thing, how would people be able to find or locate this particular radio station on the internet?
Well, there's kind of two parts to that answer. Number one is we do have a proven track record. We've been running internet radio stations since November of 2015, again in partnership with the Gospel Broadcasting Network, as well as doing live events, live streaming of events like the Cold Harbor Road Lectureship and Polishing the Pulpit. We broadcast that last year. One of the things that is important is when you have an internet radio station, and this is very much in contrast to FM radio. With FM radio, when you broadcast out, you don't know if anybody's listening. And I've even had that comment in relationship to GBN radio. People who have an FM station, we hope somebody's listening, but we don't have any way to know. With TruthFM, we provide the congregation weekly analytics, weekly stats about their listenership. And this is one of the things that we've seen. We've seen on the current stations that we have continual growth. They're growing in listenership over time. More people are hearing about it, more people are listening. And the great part is the congregation always knows there are people listening, and that makes it worth it.
I think it's a key.
It's absolutely key.
Aaron, people are going to want to know the answer to the question, are people going to listen to my radio station? And then how would they know it exists?
They're always going to want to know that answer. Will people listen? The answer is yes, they will. Internet radio, as we've already mentioned, has been around for a very long time. Millions of people use it every single day. And the great piece that we have observed in this process is, believe it or not, the more you tell people something exists, the more they listen to it. There's been studies throughout the years that show, and it's proven, that when a friend recommends to another friend that they listen to something, that person is much more likely to actually listen to it. And so one of the keys is always the local congregation, telling other people, hey, we have our own internet radio station. And you can download this TuneIn radio app or the GBN app, and you can listen to our radio station from our local congregation. And when they do that, when a friend says, hey, you need to listen to this, we do. And so there's just word of mouth. There's postcards, there's business cards, putting it on the church website. We actually work with the congregation at the very beginning to get their station embedded in their own church website, as well as we put it on the TruthFM website. If you go to the TruthFM website, you're going to find right there, front page, all the stations that we are working with and that we are streaming. It's going to be found, it's going to be listened to, and again, we reiterate, you will get back the data, the stats that tell you every week there are people listening.
Which I think is very, very important.
Yes.
Aaron, what about other devices?
TruthFM works with every station that we launch to submit their station to radio platforms, internet radio platforms like TuneIn Radio. So the great thing about TuneIn Radio is it's a free service, doesn't cost the congregation anything extra to be listed there, but their app is on every platform. You can listen to it if somebody's got one of those Amazon Echo devices, a standalone speaker in your house. You can just say, Alexa, play Culpeper Gospel Broadcasting Network, and it begins playing. Zero effort, which, by the way, I might mention, is a great thing for people who have poor eyesight. They can't use a tablet, they can't really use a television very well. They can, with just their voice and a device like that, say, play this station. And they're able to listen to the gospel, they're able to listen to your local internet radio station. We also work with GBN and utilizing our own website. We put you on our website. We have thankfully been allowed to insert our radio stations, our internet radio stations, in the GBN app, which is of course on every major platform, as well as Apple TV. So everywhere, basically, is where your internet radio station will be available.
Okay. Aaron, I guess the big question, what's it going to cost? I know people typically want to know, is there a setup cost? Is there a monthly fee? Because I understand finances are important. So what about that? When
we designed this service, we designed it to where the congregation wouldn't have anything to worry about. There is obviously a cost, but with that cost comes our great support team, so that when, if there's anything a congregation needs to know, wants to know, needs to be able to do with their internet radio station, we're there to help. So we're there, we're working with them to support it, but we're also scheduling every day the content that is going to go on that station. And so the cost is primarily just managing that station for the congregation, alleviating that burden. We've got 3 different tiers that we have designed in our plan, and we've based this upon the ability of a congregation to add additional value to their own station. So the primary tier, the first tier as I put it, where most people enter, is set up to use our primary schedule. So we have a schedule that's very similar to the GBN radio schedule. 24/7, 365, it's all scheduled out. And if a congregation wants to get in at the base level, we use that primary schedule with all of the great programs we've already talked about, and we insert at the top of the hour their station IDs about their local congregation, saying this is the South Haven Church of Christ or whatever congregation it might be, and gives their phone number, it gives their address, it tells all about the congregation and how you can get in contact with them. But then also station promos come on. And these are an opportunity to allow that congregation to highlight events that they're doing. So all of that's in the base level.
Okay.
Then the second tier, we add in, again, defining this based upon a congregation's ability to add value based upon what they already have. We add in that renew your investment level where the local congregation can add in up to 25% of the programming from their own recordings, their sermon recordings, their radio programs if they have those from the past. And all they have to do to make that happen is give us finished edited files, send them to us through Dropbox or something like that. And again, we do all the scheduling, we do all the managing of that process so that up to 25% of their week is their own local broadcast. Then the third tier is designed for those congregations that not only want to do their local broadcast, but they also want to be able to do live broadcasting. This is the power of the internet. It goes across the globe in milliseconds. So a local congregation can take up to 25% of their week for both recorded content as well as live broadcasts of their worship services or Bible classes or things like that. Anything they may want to do live, like a gospel meeting, a nightly gospel meeting, things like that, those are all designed into that third tier package. Now, you mentioned setup costs. There is a setup cost to get everything up and running, to get the station set up. Now, I want to set a perspective here as I bring in these three levels into their actual number value. If somebody was to launch an FM radio station, as many congregations have, partnering together with GBN, the initial cost to get that station built, to get a tower set in the ground and an antenna put on it, a transmitter purchased, not to mention FCC licensing, is usually somewhere between $15,000 and $25,000 to get an FM broadcast station. But here's the key. You can only get one when the FCC actually opens licensing up. Well, the last time they did that was October 2013. Wow. And the last time before that was 10 years prior to that. So a congregation could say, well, I'd like to have an FM station. Well, that'd be great. I'd like to have one too. Sure. But we have to wait on the FCC to open up licensing for that. Internet radio, though, there is no licensing. There is no FCC requirements in regards to internet radio. So we can do this. We can launch one in very short order. So the setup cost is about $1,000. $1,000 one-time cost to get the station up, get all the programming put together, help you embed it in your church website, get it embedded in other sites that you may have, submit it to TuneIn Radio. All of that's within that $1,000. And then tier one is $50 a week. And again, that keeps our support team available to you and you need it, but also schedules every day, every hour, every minute of your day on your internet radio station. Tier 2 is $75 a week, and again, that adds in that 25% of the week being local programming, because of course that involves a whole lot more time scheduling because we've got to insert those local programs. And then the third tier is $100 a week, and that includes the live streaming, live broadcasting. And that's more just a cost thing on our side. We've got a lot more to manage if somebody's doing live as opposed to pre-recorded. But the great part about this whole setup is we run it in the cloud, we manage it in the cloud, we build everything off of Amazon Web Services. It's highly reliable, it doesn't go down, it works well, and it's something worth investing your time and your money. Very little time, little bit of money, but very minimal in consideration to even you think about the electrical cost of an FM radio station, broadcasting 300 watts every hour of the day. That's a pretty high cost. This is very minimal in comparison to FM radio.
Well, and what I love about it is it's available to smaller congregations. It gives them the opportunity to make a difference in the community in which they live.
Absolutely, and we have designed this in such a way that if a congregation says, well, I mean, even that cost, it's too much for us, we're only, a small congregation, how could we help manage the cost? How could we make this easier for our congregation? And our answer is this could be done by partnering with another local congregation, or frankly, I mean, this is worldwide. So partner with a congregation in a whole nother country or a whole nother location, and partner together with them to share the cost. We'd be more than happy to let congregations do that, work with them to do that, and then at the top of the hour, both of their congregations' information goes out on the air, showing them partnering together. And this is another opportunity also for congregations that support missionaries to be able to reach out not only to missionaries across the ocean, but also to the congregations where those missionaries are working, to other individuals, and support those through a means of broadcast that reaches the globe in seconds.
So true, so true. Aaron, I know we've talked about the benefits to a small local congregation, but maybe emphasize a little bit more about how this can impact the mission field.
One of the things that we are most excited about with TruthFM, and one of the reasons why I helped co-found this organization, is because I know the power of the internet. I know the power of communication. I know the power of being able to reach the world instantaneously with the gospel. The internet goes into countries that missionaries can't go into.
That's true.
The internet goes all over the world and in every language. So one of the things that we want to do with Truth FM is we want to work especially and most of all with congregations that have a vision for how the internet can be used to reach every country, every continent on this globe, to reach the gospel out to individuals in English and in other languages.
Okay.
We're looking for elderships that have a vision to be able to say, we want to use this locally, but we want to use this for our overseas missionaries. We want to use this on site for our on-the-ground missionaries in other countries, and we want to begin building a library of sound biblical content for our station that's in local languages.
Okay.
We have a vision for how this can be used globally, and we're looking for congregations and elderships and leaders that have that same vision and imagine what we can do.
That's right.
With the power of the internet and with instantaneous communication across the globe.
Well, you know, Aaron, it helps us to take the Great Commission seriously, put it into practice. And then I think that everything you said thus far has probably piqued the interest of a lot of people. And so some might be asking, okay, how can I get additional information about Truth FM?
If you do have any further questions, we would love to speak with you. We would love for you to give us a call at 1-888-9-TRUTH-FM. Give us a call and ask us your questions. We are looking for congregations that have a vision for how they can partner with us, work with us to bring the gospel to their local city, to their local members, to edify those members, to build them up, but also to reach the entire world with the gospel, with the power of the spoken word. Give us a call today and see how the internet can be used by your local congregation to reach the world with the gospel.